Gyoza. Okay, really quick little thing for snack. Gyoza. I worked in a Japanese restaurant when I was like 16 years old, maybe 17, 16 and 17. And I started doing dishes, bussing tables, but they let me cook. So I learned how to do tempura, I learned how to do teriyaki chicken, teriyaki steak, but also gyoza. So I think it's like one of the perfect Asian snack foods. You can cook it a couple of different ways. You can fry them, you can steam them, in a basket, you can deep fry them in oil, or you can do this kind of little combination of steaming, light frying that we're going to do here. And I learned this cooking in a Japanese restaurant, or helping to cook in a Japanese restaurant. Pork gyoza from Trader Joe's. 7 pot stickers is 230 calories, so booyah. I'm also going to make a dipping sauce. Dipping sauce I didn't learn at the Japanese restaurant. I learned that on my own. So the tools we need for this are a non-stick pan. I'm using my Hex-Clad, very large pan, because I'm going to make a bunch of these, probably most of the package. And then we have a top for it, and we're going to do a little combination of steaming and frying. First, we start by getting the pan on. We're going to put it on, just so we can see, we're going to put it on kind of a medium-high heat. So we're going to preheat the pan a little bit. Then we're going to put a little oil in. Then we're going to put our gyoza in. And once they brown a little on the bottom, we're going to add some water, and we're going to steam it till they're done. And while they're steaming, we're going to do a little sauce, and then we're going to plate it, and we're going to try it, and then we're going to be done. So normally they'd have you add a couple of tablespoons of water to it. I'm doing more like a quarter of a cup here. I'm doing 2 or 3 servings, so I'm going to do more water than normal. Also, the amount of water, because it's boiling off, kind of doesn't matter a whole lot. You don't need too little is bad, because it doesn't steam through and heat it through food safe temperatures and all that. So you should have enough water so that it doesn't burn and does cook, but not too much water that it turns soupy. I'm going to use a little bit of my rice bran oil. You can use olive oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil, safflower oil, peanut oil, assuming you're not allergic. I'm going to use a tablespoon or 2 of this rice bran oil, which is what I deep fry in as well. And it's just a little bit in the pan. So what we're going to do, and what I learned to do, this is based on what I learned, so I'm not inventing anything with this one, is you take the gyoza and you spread the oil around using it. And then you start putting them in. So if there's some spattering, you can expect some spattering, because these have ice cubes on them and the pan is hot. So we're going to get a little bit of that. And we're putting it flat side down. Obviously it's got a little bit of a flat edge to it, a little flat edge there. And we're going to put that side down. I'm just going to grab a little oil. The non-stick pan is really going to help, but the oil is what helps it brown. They will brown or blacken on their own, just being in a hot enough pan. But this particular brand, the Trader Joe's, it's not encased in oil, so it doesn't have an oil on it. That's going to help it create the Maillard reaction, which is the browning. So because there's no oil on it, like there are in some of the Asian ones, the Ajinomoto brand actually recommends that you cook in water first and then let it brown, which is cool because it's actually got an oil on it or in it that's loosened up by the boiling water, and then it gives you your browning. These are backwards. There's no oil built into the dumpling, so you will really want a non-stick pan and a little bit of oil to get that browning happening. And I'm going to do the whole package. The first one in is already browning a little bit. What the oil really does is it creates a connective layer between all the little folds of the dumpling and the bottom of the pan, so that it kind of evenly browns. So our new ones that took us longer to put in aren't going to be as brown, but the first ones we put in are definitely looking good. The pan is definitely hot. We've got water here, and we're going to put the water in. And immediately put the top on it. We're going to keep it at this heat for 30 seconds to a minute, which is going to boil away a lot of the water. but it's immediately turning to steam, which is a direct heat, which is a hotter heat than boiling water. Boiling water is 212 degrees. Boiling steam can be like 230, 240 degrees. So it's really going to fill this space with a whole lot of very hot air. Kind of like me. We'll let it go a little bit, and then we're going to turn the fire down to a simmer and just let it finish simmering, finish browning, finish cooking through. While this happens, I'm going to take my bowl that I just had the water in. I'm going to put a little more water in it, which is going to be back to about a quarter to a third of a cup. And then we're going to use a little bit of soy sauce, basically to turn it a dark brown. Got my chopsticks, using Korean metal chopsticks. And so we want it to be kind of a nice caramel color, a little dark caramel color. And from here we're going to take some LaYu, which is a chili oil. Basically it's a sesame and corn oil with chili pepper extract. Now I'm going to put in 2 or 3 little button pushes here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take some sambal olek. Okay, so we can turn this down now. There's still some water in there. Sambal olek, which is just chili, fresh ground chili paste. I like a spicy sauce with this, so you do not have to use this or the LaYu. You can just use soy sauce water, and I'm going to use some rice vinegar to give it a little bit of that vinegary kick. So this is just some chili paste. And then I'm going to use, this is seasoned rice vinegar, so it's the sweeter rice vinegar. In the orange container, it's going to be sweet. It's got sugar in it. This is what you use for like sushi rice. If you were to make sushi rice on your own, without this, you would use the green bottle, which is just rice vinegar, and then you would put sugar in it and some salt, and you would use that to make your sushi rice. This has all of that in there, and you can use this directly under your rice to make a sushi rice. So from here, I'm just going to open this in, and I'm going to just a little splash. So it's maybe a teaspoon. And the reason I'm doing this is I want it spicy, I want a little brightness, I want a little bite. You can also use Yuzu if you have it. It could be a little darker, so I'm going to add a little bit more soy sauce. And that's going to be like another tablespoon. So it's probably going to be 3 or 4 tablespoons with this much water. Always cut your soy sauce with water when you're making dipping sauces. Don't ever just try and do soy sauce. It's way too salty and way too much flavor. It's a secret I didn't learn like 30 years ago. So I was definitely in my 20s before I realized that you don't just use pure soy sauce, you cut it. And of course, with anything that's prepared outside of the house, you don't know what the ingredients are. Your temperature on something like this should be about 165 degrees. That's just a food safety issue. Anything above 141 degrees for 30 seconds to a minute will kill bacteria that would possibly make you sick. But generally, because if you let something get to 165 degrees, that kills almost everything. And once you reach that temperature, everything's dead by the time it gets there. So it's really, you can see why they do it. It's a better way. So from here, we're just going to take a plate. And because we're using a nonstick, these are probably just going to release right off the pan. So this whole thing should take you 10 to 15 minutes from start to finish. Generally, when you order gyoza in a restaurant, they'll say it takes between 12 and 15 minutes to prepare it. So get the order in, get the ticket out, get them into the pan doing this, because this frying steaming combination is the correct way to cook them that I learned. But a lot of restaurants will deep fry them, which only takes, of course, like 2 or 3 minutes. Also adds a bunch of fat, which not everybody needs or wants. Maybe it's fine when you're out to a restaurant or whatever, but like when you're at home and you can control all the influences of the calories you eat and the food you eat, probably best to use a tablespoon of oil, a nonstick pan, and then water to bring it to temperature. So looking at these, it's pretty steamy. I've still got the fire on a little bit. We'll turn it off, and then let's see what we got here. So Yeah, so just giving them a shake, they release right off the bottom of the pan. And you can see here, just right there, I mean, it's like really nicely, perfectly brown. It's going to be a nice little crisp. So what we'll do is we'll just and you can certainly plate these more elegantly than I do. I'm just making a mess on a plate. They're going to be hot to the touch. They will cool down pretty quickly so that you can eat them with your fingers. Otherwise, you can eat them here. But so some of them didn't get as brown, but the ones that were in the back definitely did. So those first ones we put in are really nice. And then some are kind of lighter. So you'll serve these more attractively on a plate. You'll put them in here and you just dip it into the sauce. It's good to have your own little sauce container. So maybe if you're doing it individually, you'll have one of these and each person can have some. You just pour it into here and then they can double dip all they want. So got a really great flavor. Nice little bit of spice there. Really like it. But I'm going to double dip. And this is not all for me, but family. It's a family affair. So I'm going to dip that and get that sauce in there. Wicked. That's really good. Anyway, so put that on a plate like that. Serve it to your friends and family on a table. Make it look prettier than this. Service is not my job. I have my friends online who make beautiful plates of food. I think you know who you are. But me, it's all about the cooking, the getting it onto a plate and eating it. So if you like this sort of thing, like the video, subscribe so you can see more of these. And probably 2-3 times a week, if we're lucky. There's time to do it. I'll get these out. So thanks for coming, and I will see you next time. Go cook something.